Booktube is one of the best places to get book recs, and in this video I'm going to let some booktubers choose my books for the week. I'm reading so many different types of books that I don't think I would have ever picked up without them recommending them to me. So if you guys like this video, be sure to subscribe because there's new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and I hope you guys enjoy. I officially understand why guys want trucks. Like, I am in my husband's truck right now driving around. I just got to the park so I can read, and I feel hot. Like, I feel like a boss. I don't know what it is about this truck. I gotta show you guys when I get outside. But, like, I never drive his truck. Driving it around, I feel on top of the world. Like, literally on top of the world. But getting ready to start a new book. Obviously you guys know that we're doing a little Booktubers, like, choose my books for the week video. I actually am a little nervous because you guys know I'm a pretty harsh rater when it comes to books, and I don't try to be. It's just like I read a lot of books, and I read between like 16, 17 to 20 books a month. So if you read that much, you're gonna get a lot of like average reads, and so I just like don't rate a lot of stuff super high. Like, to me, an average read is like 3.5 because that's like kind of the middle of 5. A 4 is like good, you know, really enjoyable. I would definitely recommend. Like, I'm really liking it, loving it. 5 is obviously like very rarely comes around, and then there's the 2s and there's the 1s. So I'm just hoping that this video is gonna be one where I have some good like 4 or 5-star reads. Right now I'm actually reading 1 Week in Paradise by Anise Starr. I'm reading Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez, and I'm reading In This Moment by Kate LaShawn. Now, you guys know, if you've been here for a while, I read a lot of diverse reads. I read books that are on Book Talk and Bookstagram, Booktube, but I also like to really dig for books that I don't feel like people are talking about. So yeah, this book, In This Moment by Kate LaShawn, actually only has like 400 reviews on Goodreads, and it's really good so far. So yeah, anyway, reading 3 books, and I was like, you know what, let me just decide to add in more books to read. So I messaged my friend Natalie because she's a booktuber. She has such a fun like Instagram, and she has such a fun YouTube. You guys should definitely go follow her. Fun. So I asked what she thought that I should read. I said, I'm doing a booktuber chooses my reads for the week, so I wanted to see what books you recommend. Love your recs. And then she's like, ah, yay, thank you. I'd love to give you some recs. Some of my all-time favorite romances are Say You Swear, Red, White, and Royal Blue, Icebreaker, and Archer's Voice. Now, I've already read Icebreaker, and it wasn't my favorite. I read Archer's Voice and absolutely loved it, like, was obsessed. Haven't read Say You Swear, it's on my TBR, and I haven't read Red, White, and Royal Blue. And she said some thrillers that, some of my favorite thrillers are Flicker in the Dark, Things We Never Got Over, and The Housemaid. And she said, let me know if you need any others. I've read The Housemaid, and so I'm kind of like feeling in a lovey-dovey mood, as you guys can see from this like stack of books. So I'm thinking that I am going to choose a like romance. So I brought Red, White, and Royal Blue, which is a book I've been wanting to read for the longest. Honestly, it just scares me because I don't feel like most romances should be like 400, 500, 600 pages. Like, to me, it's like, okay, like, get to the point. So we'll see how I feel about this, but I am excited. I've heard really good things about it, and she always gives really great recommendations, so I'm really excited to read it. Also, the movie came out, and I have not watched the movie yet because I'm holding off because I want to read this, even though literally I read The Summer I Turned Pretty, haven't watched the season yet, read Daisy Jones and the Six. Well, I guess I've watched season 1. I haven't watched season 2 of The Summer I Turned Pretty. I have watched, I read Daisy Jones and the Six and haven't watched the show yet. So will I get to this movie? I don't know. I hope I will. Movies are easier for me. I like to read versus like, I don't know, shows and stuff. Anyway, this is like the chattiest intro I think I've ever given in my entire life, but let's get into this book. We're going to read at the park for a little bit, and we're going to also do some book shopping in this video because there is a small bookstore that I absolutely love, and they like are, they just like got a new owner, and I've been meaning to go to their bookstore for the longest, but I haven't been able to make it over there. So we're going to go in this video and like see what they have. So lots of fun stuff. And then I have a bookshelf that I kind of want to put together. I just don't know if I will get to it because obviously I'm going to be reading. Anyway, lots of fun things, but let's go over to like a little area and sit and read this book. This is his truck. Like literally, I don't know why it looks so big to me. Maybe because I'm used to having like a little baby car, but it is so big to me. But anyway, I don't know. Just even opening the door, it's like there's such a huge step to like step up. But anyway, let me go read this book because it's kind of like raining. You guys can see there's like rain up here and it's coming down, so let's go find like a good spot where you can sit and listen to the rain.
What if the world had more of your smile? What if the wind could spread your love? What if your sweetness could reach everyone? There'd be no wars. Maybe the birds will sing about your heart. Maybe the trees will whisper the word. Maybe the sun will spread your joy to the ones who lost their hope. Fill my head with roses. I can't help but dream away. Standing on a field with you and flowers everywhere. Maybe there is a
If you guys have been here for a while, you're probably wondering whose house am I in, and I'm in New Orleans. A very random turn of events. My sister, her husband works for the NFL, and he actually has to be at a Saints game that's out of town tomorrow, and she is a dancer and she has like a performance, and so they have a little one and had no one to watch her, so I was like, I'll watch her. She's only like 2.5, and granted it was an 11-hour drive, so it was super long, but I don't know, it just gives me a chance to like hang out with her, so I'm really excited. But I brought all my books with me, and I'm really far into Red, White, and Royal Blue, and I'm really glad that I got this as a recommendation. I'm on page 240, so I have about 200 pages left because I think there's like 430 or 440 pages, I think. It's really good. I will say I wish there was a little bit more dialogue. I feel like Casey McQuiston does such a great job of making you feel the emotions that they're feeling, but I almost wish that they were expressed more like verbally. And that probably sounds weird, or maybe it doesn't sound weird, but it like, you would think that reading a book that you're like getting, I don't know, a lot of like talking because it's like a book, and that's like, you know, when you get a love story, obviously they're gonna connect, but I feel like some of the book is like we're being told what they're feeling and not really, like, they're not really talking about it, if that makes sense. Like, let me read a passage from the book. Let's see if I can find one on the page. I should have probably pulled up something, to be honest. I can't even think about like where this would be, but there was literally one specific spot that I was thinking of when I was like reading this book. Let's see, I don't want to spoil anything either, so I don't want to read something that's gonna like literally spoil apart, but you guys get the vibes. Like, there just isn't enough dialogue. A lot of the time the author will be like, you know, it was one night when they were like on the phone, and it was like they talked about their feelings, and they talked about like how this happened and that happened, and they talked about, you know, X, Y, and Z, but like I wanted to like hear them and what they were talking about, if that makes sense. Like, I wanted them to actually talk about it and like read their conversation. So that's the only thing that is like hanging me up, because you guys know that I love dialogue, like absolutely, I'm obsessed with it. But the book is really, really good so far. I also am definitely gonna watch the movie that came out like ASAP, because I'm literally in love with both these characters, and it's such a good book. So I also don't feel like I have like read a book as fast as I've read this one that is like this thick. Like, literally it's almost 500 pages, and I have had no time to read this week. Like, I'm not even kidding, because I knew I was coming here. I had to like get so much work done before I came, and it is Friday, and I think I started this Monday, but you guys obviously saw like there were a lot of days I did not read this week, and so the fact that I've been able to read this in such a short time with like the amount of time I've actually had to read this is wild. That just goes to show I really love this book. So I'm probably gonna finish this tonight because now it's the weekend. I have a little bit more time to read. I also brought more books to read. I am always reading multiple books at one time. So I'm reading One Week in Paradise and this book by Kayla Shawn in this moment. Still just chugging through these, but the next book I'm reading is actually underneath the bottom of here, and I'm not going to show you guys what it is until I'm done with this book, because you guys are going to love the booktuber who recommended this book, and I just feel like, I don't know, I am really excited, but I feel like this book can be a hit or miss, so I'm a little nervous, but I will show you guys whenever we kind of get around to that. So I'm thinking maybe we could go to a bookstore today. I really don't need to go. I literally just posted a bookstore vlog right before this and an Amazon like haul. If you guys have missed those videos, like they're literally right before this one, and I went to 2 different bookstores. And the Amazon haul had 22 books, and I ended up picking up so many books at the bookstore. But I always feel like when I go to a new city, I want to support independent bookstores, and so I'm gonna try to go to maybe 1 independent bookstore a day and 1 tomorrow and see what they have there, because you guys just know, like, that's my vibe. I love like looking at books, so I don't know. Don't judge me, please don't judge me. I love supporting independent businesses, but I also love book shopping, so let's go see what we can find. So I typed in bookstores, and it looks like almost all of them are like closed or about to be closing, and I think it's because it's a Friday and it's almost 7 o'clock. Like literally all of them close at like 7, except for Barnes, which I literally do not need to go into Barnes like at all, so literally, like that's the only one that stays open till 10. I do think I'm gonna go to 2 bookstores tomorrow, but I'm just gonna wait till tomorrow because I'd rather support independent businesses than like Barnes again, since I was literally just there. And I think I'm gonna go find a coffee shop where I can read my book and just kind of get cozy and relax for a bit. Before we go anywhere, I do wanna give you a house tour. This place is literally perfect. For one, you come up on an elevator. That alone is like just so cool. And then there is this little room in here that is just like a nice space if you have 2 people. There's like a little fireplace thing, and then in here is the bathroom. Absolutely stunning. Let me see if I can turn on the light in here. Literally, it's so pretty, and the light comes through. It just looks really relaxing. I definitely would take a bath before I go. And then once you go back out here, turn off all these lights because I don't need them. You walk through. I also love how they have this like little brick here. It kind of makes me want to do that in our house. You walk through, there's a balcony. I'll show you guys that in a second, but this is where I'm gonna stay, in this room, and it's so cute. I just love it. And then the bathroom is so big and spacious, and the ceilings are so high. It's literally the perfect place. And then once you go out of these doors, you'll see that we're actually on Magazine Street, which is so nice. There is another big Airbnb across the street if you like need more people. It's from the same like owner. This place right here is actually a little coffee shop, literally right across the street. And then, whoa, this door is opening up. That bistro right there is just like a little, I don't think it's Italian, but it's like definitely like a restaurant. I try to see if there's reservations tonight. Literally, they're completely booked until next week. And then over here, I'm trying to make sure this door stays closed. There's this cute little area to sit out and have your coffee and stuff. And then over here on this side is their other Airbnb. So this guy, he actually owns this place I'm staying in, and the place across the street. So you can have like all 3 if you wanted to have your friends all in the same place. This one actually has like a yard, and there's like grilling and stuff out there, which is really, really nice. And I just think that this is the cutest little Airbnb literally ever. And then next door is like urgent care. So it's just like a really nice street. And then this is like, there's another restaurant over there. It's very busy because it's Magazine Street, obviously. It's a great area to stay in if you don't want to like stay near like Bourbon Street. There are also all of these walkable places. Like this is walkable, and he like left all this stuff that makes it easy to figure out like what's close. And then he also left all of this information here. And what's nice down here is it says that pretty much I don't have to do anything when I leave. He said we want your last morning with us to be stress-free as possible. Literally love Airbnbs like this. Guys, why is this Whole Foods literally so big? This is the biggest Whole Foods I've ever seen. This is wild. We don't even have this one like this big at home.
Come all you young rounders, a story I'll tell of the promise of heaven and the warning of hell. Take heed where you ramble, or too soon you will go. Way up on the hillside where the new flowers grow.
I finished Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, and literally this book had me in my feels. It still kind of does. Oh my god, like I don't want to cry. I feel like this book, initially seeing the cover, and I think many of you guys like know my feelings on just like how much work we have to do as just like a country. And so seeing the cover, I was like, I literally don't want to read this. And literally as I was reading this, my husband goes, "You're reading a book that says Red, White, and Royal Blue?" And I was like, yeah, like this is what it's about. And he's like, okay, that makes sense, like why you're reading it. But initially when you look at it, you just like don't, it doesn't give the vibes, you know, it just doesn't. And I would not have picked up this book to like read it and like really been encouraged to read it if I hadn't done like this little challenge, and I'm so glad that I did. I feel like this book would definitely have been a 5-star if the writing had more dialogue. I really struggled with the story not having enough dialogue, and I know the author was giving like a lot of background to help you really like understand just like the climate of this book, but I really wanted more dialogue between the characters and more of like their thoughts just like shared aloud to each other. I'm rating this book 4 stars, and there was at one point like towards the beginning of the book I was like, am I really gonna like this book? And I think like about, I don't know, maybe 200 pages in, I was like, okay, I'm in. I had to really get past like there not being enough dialogue, but the story and messaging and plot of this book is so beautiful, and I feel like this is what I want like America to be and what I hope for. And it's a very hopeful book, and I didn't realize that Casey McQuiston wrote this book in 2016, which was like a really wild time. And so I think that this book is just a very like hopeful story that like America is for everyone, that there's so many of us who maybe have different backgrounds and cultures, and like we can all just like, I don't know, exist collectively together and like help each other. And this book just gives all of that in a happy, like non-super heavy way, if that makes sense. And this is why I feel like I tell people like you have to read fiction, because I think sometimes people think you need to read like these highbrow books to like get all of this like deep intellectual thought, but reading this book, I feel like I would have loved to like talk about this in a like book club, because the ending was just so like, I mean, I'm not gonna spoil anything. Literally, I was crying in the restaurant last night, and it was at the point where they, if you read this book, they were kind of like yelling at each other in the palace, and there's just like so much emotion, and Casey McQuiston literally makes you feel the feelings that these characters feel, like every single one of them, like even the mom in this book, like you can feel her emotion. So I love this book, and I definitely think this would have been like a 4.5, maybe 5-star read if there had been more dialogue, and that's the only thing that I really had a hang up on. So it's a 4-star, but you guys know I am a like pretty, I don't want to say rough rater, but like an average book to me is like a 3. So like most books, unless they're like incredible, like they just kind of fall on a 3, because that's like middle of the road. 3.5 is like you're a little bit above average. 4 is like you're getting up there. And so this is a really good book. I really recommend that you should read this book because I feel like it deals with so many different like unique topics all in one book. It is long, but it's definitely worth it. I'm going to show you guys the book that I'm starting next. The next book that I'm starting is Eleanor, Oliphant is Completely Fine. I've really never read anything from this author and absolutely never would have picked up this book, like literally ever, if I hadn't been recommended like this book to read. You guys know I'm like a happy, fluffy, easy read kind of girl. Sometimes I'll throw in a thriller like here and there, but for the most part, I like read a lot of like happy books. And so this is like out of my element. I feel like this book feels very adulty. Like it's on the Reese Witherspoon's like book club, which I love her recs, but some of her recs I feel like give adult vibes, which I am an adult. Like I'm literally an adult, but there's just something about like adult books that make me feel like they're, I don't know, I don't want to say like they're too smart for me because they're not, but like I don't want to think too much. You know, I want a book where I can just like enjoy like I'm scrolling TikTok or like I'm watching like a good show. Like that's how I want to enjoy books. And I do like deeper themes and stuff, but it has to be like not too intellectually heavy, if that makes sense. There can be like deep topics, but it just can't be too like highbrow. I don't even know if that's making any sense, but it just can't. And that's why I never would have picked up this book. But Khalila D said that this book is so good. If you guys don't watch her channel, she is a Black booktuber who literally shares the best recs and has the best personality. Like if you guys follow like my videos, you will love her. Like her personality is just so vibrant and fun. She has such great recs. I feel like she's always trying to like learn, but she also reads like fluffy fun stuff. She has like a really good balance between the books that she reads. I'm gonna start this book today. I'm a little nervous because you guys know how I am with just like ratings, and this isn't a book that I normally would have picked up. But if she said that this book is 5 stars, then I gotta do it. I gotta do it. So we're gonna read this one today.
Pass me the bell. Halfway through, just trying to get over you. And I ain't crying, 'cause I ain't thinking, 'cause I ain't working, 'cause I've been drinking. Pass me the bottle, 'cause I ain't nearly halfway through. Trying to get over you. If it feels like something's dragging, it's just me. I'm off the wagon. So pass me the bottle, 'cause I ain't nearly halfway through. Trying to
Garden Street Books and I went to Octavia Books, which those are 2 bookstores here in New Orleans. Octavia Books was giving very much like literary, and over at Garden Street Books they had a ton of horror books and like thrillers, because I think the owner of the bookstore has like a really great relationship with someone who writes horror books, and so like they just make a lot of selections there for stuff like that. So 2 great bookstores. I really enjoyed. The vibes were definitely not giving like romance, like easy contemporary romance vibes, but I do want to go to this bookstore. I saw it's in New York. It's called like the Ripped Bodice or something, and it's like all like contemporary romance, and I think that is the coolest thing. Also, oh, speaking of, I'm going to New York soon. Well, not soon, I guess. I'm going next month. And Brady's taking me to 10 bookstores that are all independent bookstores, so we can support independent bookstores and just like shop around. I live like 3 hours from Chicago, so it is like a good distance to like get there. But I love supporting independent bookstores, and we really don't have many in my hometown. But I got 3 books, and the first book that I got is The Coworker by Frida McFadden. On the back it says, 2 women, an office filled with secrets, one terrible crime that can't be taken back. Now, if you guys don't know this, Frida McFadden, she actually is, she's not a brain surgeon, but she like works with people who had like brain injuries. And she also is a writer, which is like boss, freaking girl boss. And I think that is so cool, but she writes books for people who have had like brain injuries to get them back into reading. And so her books are really quick, really easy. She wrote The Housemaid. I love that book. Read Never Lie by this author. Also love that book. So I'm really trying to go through like all of this author's books because I feel like they're the easiest thrillers to get into. The words are super big. There's tons of dialogue. Like it's super fast paced. So I feel like I'm gonna read all of them. So I picked this up, and I also want to pick up more from this author as well. I also picked up True Biz by Sarah Novick, and this is on the Reese Witherspoon's book club like list. And one of you guys actually over on Instagram gave me this recommendation. If you're not following me there, you definitely should, because I talk about a lot of books over there. But I asked you guys like for some recs, and this is about students at River Valley School for the Deaf, and they just want to hook up, pass their history finals, and have politicians, doctors, and their parents stop telling them what to do with their bodies. And pretty much the whole book is about like these characters and or not these characters, about these students, and just like a series of events that happen in their lives. And I just think that that's the coolest thing. On the bottom it says, a story of sign language and lip reading, disability and civil rights, first love and loss, and above all, great persistence, daring, and joy. This is an unforgettable journey in the deaf community and a universal celebration of human connection. I thought that was so cool. I don't read very many books about the deaf community, and you guys know I really try to diversify my reads with different types of relationships, like different cultures, like different of everything. And I feel like this is a great book to add into my little TBR. I also got A Twisted Love Story by Samantha Downing, who wrote My Lovely Wife, which was a bestseller. I've never read that book, but this book looked so easy to read. Like literally, I opened it up and I was already like wanting to finish the first chapter. I was getting through it really fast. On the inside, it says, Wes and Ivy are madly in love. They've never felt anything like it. It's the type of romance people write stories about. But what kind of story? When it's good, it's great. Flowers, grand gestures, deep, meaningful conversations where the whole world disappears. When it's bad, it's really bad. Vengeful fights, damaged property, arrest warrants. But their vicious cycle of catastrophic breakups and head over heels reconciliations needs to end fast, because suddenly Wes and Ivy have a common enemy, and she's a detective. There's something Wes and Ivy never talk about. In good times or bad, the night of their worst breakup, when one of them took things too far and someone ended up dead. If they can stick together, they can survive anything, even the tightening net of a police investigation, because one more breakup might just be their last. This looks so good. And again, like the words are super easy to read. There's lots of dialogue, like literally on the first page you can see, whenever you see like a lot of page breaks, that usually means that there's like a lot of dialogue. And I always look at the words in my books to see if they're like good. I will say this is one of the first books that I've picked up that has like a not amazing rating on Goodreads. Not bad. It's like I think a 3 or 3.5. And I usually don't pick up books that have like average ratings just because I have such a long TBR, but this is also a new book and I'm really gonna trust my own judgment on this one. So I picked up these 3. We're gonna read some more. I'm going to babysit my niece tonight while my sister, her husband, he works for the NFL and he's gonna go shoot for the Saints. He's already like gone and like left to go shoot with the team. And my sister, she has like a performance tonight, so I get to babysit and maybe I'll get in some reading. I don't really know. I'm gonna bring my book just in case. But yeah, I'll keep you guys posted with what we end up doing. I just finished Eleanor, Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. I didn't really know what to make of this book halfway through, but I didn't want to like do a little chat because I just genuinely didn't know how I felt about it, because I feel like as I was reading it, it seemed like it was one of those books that was going to have like a big takeaway at the end, which I feel like it definitely did, but just like overall the reading experience, there definitely was not enough dialogue for me. I do think, one, this would have been an incredible book for a book club. Like if you want to have something to talk about, I feel like there's so much to like really dive into with this book. I also feel like this would be a great book for like university. I was an English major, and I feel like we read a lot of books like this that had so many deeper themes, and you could kind of like run off from one topic to another. But in saying that, I feel like when I read, I do like to like take away a deeper message, but I also like to really enjoy the reading experience. And I think, one, because there wasn't a lot of dialogue, two, it was a very quirky read. It reminded me a lot of the book Kitchens of the Great Midwest, or Anxious People by Friedrich Bachmann. Very quirky characters, quirky scenarios, and like the main character was just quirky in general. So I don't know, I think that I would probably rate this a 3, which to me is just like average. I feel like the messaging of this book is absolutely incredible, and if I had to rate the messaging of this book, it would definitely be like 4.5, 5 out of 5. It is a very good message and super deep. And I think, again, it would be so great to have this for a book club. And I see why Kalila has this as like a 5-star read, because I did see myself getting emotional with this book and like reading about the characters. And I think overall, like the author's wanting you to like really look at yourself and analyze the way you view the world and view people, which I think is like a beautiful thing when you like read a book. But again, when I go back to like what I look for in a reading experience, I do look for like learning and thinking deeper about the world, but also the reading experience itself has to be like incredibly enjoyable too. So I don't know. Again, I really did enjoy this book. Don't feel like a 3 is a bad rating. To me, like if I rate something between like a 3 and up, like a 3 is like average, 3.5 is a little above average, 4 is like, you know, really love it, 4.5 is like, oh my god, I'm obsessed, like can't get enough of it, and then a 5 out of 5 is like, I would read this again, constantly recommend it, obviously. And this, to me, I think because the theme was so good, but the story itself and like the way, I don't know, I found myself like not being able to put it down, but I also find myself wanting to put it down, if that makes sense. Like I couldn't put it down because I wanted to figure out like what happened to her and like why she is the way that she is. But then I also wanted to put it down because like you would go pages, you can see there's like no line breaks. You'll go pages and pages of just straight no line breaks because there isn't very much dialogue, and a lot of it is her inner thoughts, which I get because she's like a lonely character. But just like, I feel like maybe if I like watched this as a movie, or if I like listened to an audiobook, it would have been easier to digest. But like it is a lot about loneliness, but also about like finding joy in the little things and like finding connection with people and realizing what you do have. There's a lot of deep themes in this, and I definitely will recommend this. Like this will be a book I recommend, but I think it'll have to be to a specific person. When I think of this book, I think of people who like Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing, who I also like her writing, or people who like the book Normal People, Sally Rooney, you know, that type of writing, like very, like if you watch Jack Edwards on YouTube, I feel like this would be a book that he would like really love, if that makes sense. Which again, I did really like it, but I need more dialogue. I don't know, there's something about like a book that if there's no dialogue, I just kind of want to like start skimming because I just get bored. So yeah, again, definitely a good choice, and I never would have read this book without like having been recommended this by Kalila. So thank you for this, and I'm just so like glad that she recommended it to me, because I definitely would recommend it to other people. Next book I am going to read is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez, and I'm really excited to read this book because I've heard great things about it, but also you guys know I read Part of Your World this month and like literally fell in love with her writing, so now I want to read everything on her backlist. So I think I'm actually gonna take this book outside and like read outside and give you guys updates outside, just because the sun is setting and I feel like that's always my favorite time to read, like right after work, whenever I can like go outside and just soak up the sun for a little bit. We'll probably go by the dock because that's like one of my favorite places to read, and maybe turn on like some music or something. But I'm really excited to get into a happy book. This book was recommended by Sarah Caroli. And I feel like her book recs are very similar to the kind that I like to read, but I mean, I don't know. I read one Abby Jimenez book, and that does not mean that all of her writing is good. I love the book Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren, like the author duo, but I've read so many books by that like author duo that I don't really enjoy since reading that one book. And so I'm hoping that Part of Your World is not like a one-hit wonder, but I've heard so many good things about this book. So I feel like it's gonna be a good one, but I don't know. And you guys know, I'll always be honest about my ratings, like no matter who recommends them, but I feel like there's so much beauty in just like reading in general. And I love that we all have like so many different like, I don't know, interests, and so maybe she'll like this book and I won't. I don't know. So we'll see. Let's head outside and read for a little bit.
I could sit around and wait all day. You lay easy on my mind, like a candle I just burn away. All we really have is time. All we really have is time. I don't wanna waste it on anybody. Take it with anybody but you.
It's always so refreshing to come out here and like read outside versus like inside, and it's easy to take just like where you live for granted. Like obviously this is my backyard, which I feel so grateful for, but also like there's so many parks and like nature trails near me that I just definitely don't get out to like read in. If you're someone who always reads inside, try reading outside. It makes the reading experience like a million times more magical, and it just makes it like, it's kind of like when you listen to music and read, it just like enhances the experience so much more. But I'm only a few pages into this book and I'm really loving it. I forgot how much I really enjoy her writing and how easy it is to just like jump into her stories. I think it's because she has so much dialogue, it just makes it like super fun, and I don't know, it feels very like movie-esque. Like it feels like I'm watching a movie while I read her books, but I'm only a couple pages in again, so I'll keep you guys posted on this book, but I'm really hoping that I love this one. I don't know if I'll get over the fact that I finish Abby Jimenez's books so fast because like her writing is so good. Like I just can't get over how fast I speed through her books. This is like, I started this book yesterday and I'm on page 260. I cannot put this book down. Her writing is like just so, it feels so real. Like her characters feel real, the way people talk feels real, like her jokes and the jokes that they have together, like all of it just feels real. So I'm loving this book so far. I'm gonna go and read in the park for a little bit, I think. But I wanna open this package with you guys because I actually ordered a book from bookshop.com, which if you guys don't know, bookshop.com is like a way to support small businesses if you don't have like small business bookstores or independent bookstores, if you don't have one in your town, or even if you do and you just like want to shop online. I actually only have there's like one or two independent bookstores here, but they don't sell new books. So I always end up like, I don't know, trying to not just shop at Amazon. So I ended up picking up The Roommate Risk by Talia Hibbert, and I cannot wait to read this book. On the back it says, 2 best friends, 7 years of pining, 1 explosive summer. Romance is weakness, and Jasmine Allen doesn't have anything for either. Lifelong cynic Jazz is the queen of one-night things until a plumbing disaster screws everything up and leaves her temporarily homeless. Luckily, she has someone to turn to, her best friend Raoul. For 7 years, Raoul Khan has followed 3 simple rules. Don't touch Jasmine if you can help it. Don't look at her arse in that skirt. And don't ever, ever tell her you love her. This says arse. I wonder if this is like, a book that's like not from the States. I don't really know, but I feel like we don't ever say that. Like we don't say arse. He should have added another rule. Do not under any circumstances let Jazz move into your house. Now Raoul is living with the friend he can't have, and it's decimating his control. He knows their shared dinners aren't dates, their late night kisses are a mistake, and the tenderness in Jasmine's gaze is only temporary. One wrong word could send his skittish best friend running, so why is he tempted to risk it all? This looks so good. I just am so in love with the cover. Everything about it is just like, I'm so into it. So yeah, I just wanted to open this little package. I actually have some videos coming soon that I know you guys are gonna be excited about. I will share pretty soon. I think like you'll know by the beginning of October, but yeah, I have some hauls coming, and this was just like a little taste of some of the like fun books that I have coming. I feel like you guys are really gonna like them. Like this is giving fall to me. I don't know why, maybe it's the cover because it's like dark, but like whenever I read a romance in the fall, I like the covers to be kind of like looking like this. I don't know. It just isn't giving summer to me. I don't know why, but anyway, I'm really loving this book so far. I feel like her writing is like, it just feels like real. And I found myself like laughing at the jokes, like when they're talking about like Xfinity, like if you read the book, you know what I'm talking about. Like I literally kept like laughing. It just is so funny to me, and is like a joke that I would tell like with my husband. Another thing that I feel like I really am enjoying about this book is the like how the author is talking about like anxiety. I don't have anxiety personally, and so it's hard for me sometimes to understand how people feel even when they explain it to me, because I've never had those feelings before. And so this is such a good book. My husband gets anxious about things sometimes, and I always like to put myself into other people's shoes, but like it's hard to put yourself into someone's shoes if they sometimes don't even like know exactly how to explain how they're feeling, if that makes sense. And I feel like this book perfectly encapsulates so many like things. Like whenever he's like watching his like comfort shows over and over again, because he like doesn't really want to have to like think and doesn't want to have to like feel any like new emotions. Like my husband has literally said like he like watches the same shows over and over again at night because of that like same feeling that, and like I just think that that's so neat. I do feel like this is a very like, it's a soft romance, and I like the male characters that I read about to be more like, I don't know, more tough guy, like less soft boy. And so I feel like this, if you like the book Archer's Voice, like I feel like he's a similar type of character to Archer, where he's just very like sweet and thoughtful. So I'm really interested to see how I'll feel within the next, I think, what do I have, like 200 pages or so, and how I will like more connect with like the romance part of this, because I still kind of feel like as I'm reading about him, it seems like he's like more friend vibes, which he's obviously not. But I just think that like I don't normally read about like guy characters with like a soft boy type of personality. So I'm really enjoying it. Her books are always just like hook me every single time, and I literally bought all of her books for that reason, because I love her writing. But yeah, let's head to the park and read for a little bit there. I feel like that will be really fun. It is literally midnight, so I am so tired, and this video is going up for you guys tomorrow, but I finished yours truly. This book had me crying, had me gasping. The ending was wild. 4.5 out of 5 stars for me for this one. It was so good. Her writing is just incredible. There's something about it that, like, I don't know, you just can't stop reading once you start. I love this book, and I like immediately want to read another one of her books. If you guys aren't like watching Sarah Caroli's videos, you have to. I feel like her recs are so freaking good because this book was incredible. It's so good. It didn't give me that 5-star feeling, but it definitely is a book that I'll recommend and like I absolutely loved. And then I'm literally never up this late. It's like actually 12:01 right now, so it's like after midnight. So I rated that 4.5. Rated Eleanor Oliphant is completely fine. 3 stars. Again, really enjoyed this book, and I feel like this would be a good book for a book club. And I feel like it has such deeper themes that like would bring out a lot of conversation, which is hard to find in a lot of books. And then I read Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston, and I rated this 4 stars. Loved this story. I feel like this is a story that you don't hear often, and it gave me just so much hope for like what the future could look like one day. Such a great story. Read 3 great books this week by 3 booktubers, and I'm ready to go to bed. I got my bonnet on, I got my pajamas on, and I'm just like already cozied up. So, if you guys enjoyed this video and you've stayed this long, thank you. And also, make sure to subscribe because there's going to be another video on Saturday because there's videos 3 days a week. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.